to talk about comparing unlike forms of numbers. So what that means is I'm going to give you two numbers, and they're going to look crazy. Like they could be decimals, or fractions, or decimals with exponents, or fractions underneath square root signs. And when I say compare, I'm asking you to look at the one on the left, look at the one on the right, and say what kind of sign should we put in the middle? Should we put an equal sign? Do they really equal each other? Should we say the one on the left is less than the one on the right? Or do we say the one on the left is greater than the one on the right? Like this. Now just looking at these crazy numbers, you probably don't know which one is bigger or if they're equal. So if you looked at this one right here, if I told you it's pretty much like 0.16 or 0.17, and then this one that says square root of 2/5 is really 0.63, well, we're gonna go ahead and say, okay, the one on the right's bigger, so we'll say this sign. The one on the left is less than the one on the right. Let's take a look at the document camera, and I'll show you how to use this tool to convert these into decimals and make that decision. These problems are going to look like this. Here's 0.64 to the fourth, and here's the square root of 2/5. But this time it's got the less than sign between it, the greater than sign between it, or the equal sign between it. What we want to do is say, okay, what is 0.64 to the fourth? And let's see how we can put that in our calculator. All right, so here's the calculator. Obviously, you put 0.64 in, you're just going to hit 0.64. We got that. Now to do an exponent, the button we use, I kind of think of it like the roof of a house right here. When you hit this button right here, it's going to get you up into the exponent spot. And notice once you're up there, you can put anything you want in there. So we're going to go ahead and put a 4. Hit enter, it's going to turn it into a decimal for you. 0.16777216. We just really just kind of want two decimals here, so we'll say 0.1. And we won't say 6. If that's a 7, if the next, we're going to cut these guys out. If this guy is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we'll just bump it up, say 0.17. So this is 0.17. Now let's do that other one, that's square root of 2/5. Okay, how do we do that on here? Well, before, don't hit the fraction button yet. We are going to hit this fraction button, but if you have a square root, first thing is you want to hit the square root button. Now look there, it's above these two buttons. There's a X square root looking thing, and then there's a square root. What you want to do is you want to do this one. But remember, if you want stuff above the button, it's like you got to hit shift or you got to hit second. So hit second, then hit that right there. And you'll have square root. Now we're going to put a fraction under it, so while you're blinking right here, go ahead and hit the fraction button, and you'll notice it makes it tall, just like it does on the problem. Put in 2/5. I come out to the right there. You don't have to, but when you hit enter, there it is, 0.63. And let's just throw out all these other decimals, 2, 4, 5, 5, 5, 3, 2. Just throw them out. If that number is 0, 1, 2, or 3, or 4, just cut it off. We're going to say 0.63. Don't round it up if this decimal is small. So 0.63. 0.63. All right, so we know that 0.64 gave us this guy, and the square root of 2/5 here gave us this decimal right there. So clearly 0.63 is going to be bigger than 0.17. So we want to make sure if you're doing the alligator eating the bigger number, you want to go with answer A right there so that you're eating the square root of 2/5. Okay, look at example 2 and notice these numbers are also crazy. So you see this has a negative 1.9 in the parentheses to the negative 4th power. Well, let's just write that down with the parentheses, negative 1.9 and then a negative 4 power. Put a little arrow here. Let me show you how to put that into your calculator. It starts with a parenthesis. So you got to start with a parenthesis and hit this button right here. Okay. Now, do not hit the subtract sign for that negative. Do not go subtract sign 1.9 right there. Like that, where you're going to say error on your calculator. So back to the parentheses. When you have a negative number, what you want to do is hit this one right here below the 3. That'll let you do a negative. Put 1.9 in there. Close your parenthesis. And we've got to get up here. Remember, you had a negative 1/4 power. So we have a negative 1, or not negative 1/4, negative 4 power. So hit the roof of the house button. And again, negative 4, not subtract sign 4. When you hit enter, There we go. We've got 0.076. Hey, if we're going to only take 2 decimals, remember, if this next decimal is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, bump that up. We'll call it 0.08. 0.08. All right, this next one is crazy, though. We got to know, look at all this. It's a fraction. It's got a -3 in a parenthesis to the 4 power. It's got a 5 on the bottom. Here's the thing. It's a fraction first. So go ahead and start by hitting the fraction button. And I'll go ahead and write this down. We're going to put -3 to the, that's a 4 there on top of a 5. Okay. So I start by hitting the fraction button. Now I'm blinking on top. Up there was a -3. So hit the parenthesis. -3, close the parenthesis. And I've got to get way up here. I'm on the top of the fraction. I've got to get even farther on top, hit the roof of the house. And up there is a 4, just a regular 4, like that. Now I want to get into the denominator area. So I'm going to use this like a cursor, arrow down, and now I'm there. And I got to put down there just a 5. And you're done. You can hit enter right now, or you come over here to the right so it looks pretty. Hit enter. Oh, it says 81/5. We don't want a fraction here. We need a decimal so we can compare one decimal to the other. So don't forget you have this amazing button right here above enter. If it says a fraction and you want a decimal, well, hit that, and it is 16.2. So this guy turned out to be 16.2, just like that. And now if you're saying, hey, 0.08 or 16.2, and remember you can always add an extra decimal so it looks like money. 0.08, 16.2. Hey, 16.2 is way bigger than a number that's 0.08. So we want to make sure you're eating the number here, which would be answer A, eating this one right here. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to do the next one, but if you look at it, you should be able to figure it out on your own. Make sure you hit the square root button first, figure out what these are, and then decide for yourself which one you think is the bigger number. And when you put this one in, on your calculator, hit the parenthesis first, then hit the fraction button second, 5/6. Go to the right, close it, 4. And that's it.